Let's take a moment to break down Rogue's powers and how they have evolved, starting with the fact that she has the ability to absorb powers, energy, memories, knowledge, talents, personality traits, and even physical skills from another person through direct skin-to-skin contact. Her ability isn't limited to superhuman traits. For instance, she has absorbed the strength, agility, and quick reflexes of an enhanced human. She's also capable of taking in psionic abilities. When Rogue absorbs someone's memories, she experiences the emotional weight and feelings tied to them as well. For this transfer to work, Rogue's skin has to make direct contact with the other person's skin. Her absorption powers only work on living organic beings. Rogue can hold on to the powers of multiple superhuman individuals at the same time. So far, there hasn't been a defined limit to how many powers she can retain at once or the maximum amount of power she can absorb. Interestingly, Rogue can even take on noticeable physical traits from her targets. However, her own appearance remains unchanged when she absorbs the abilities or memories of a person with a normal human look. The abilities and memories she absorbs last for a period of time that's 60 times longer than the amount of time she was in physical contact with the person. When Rogue touches someone, they are rendered unconscious, though certain individuals like Juggernaut and Moho have been able to resist this effect. For most of her life, she couldn't control this power, but she eventually gained mastery over it after Professor Xavier removed the mental barriers in her subconscious. The transfer of abilities and memories is usually temporary, lasting as long as the physical contact dictates, but in rare cases it can become permanent. For instance, she permanently absorbed Miss Marvel's powers, possibly due to Miss Marvel's unique blend of human and Kree DNA. Similarly, she permanently took on Sunfire's powers when she accidentally absorbed the last of his life force. Typically, the process happens instantly when Rogue touches someone, but beings with immense power can sometimes resist, allowing her to absorb only parts of their memories and abilities. Her power can be deadly. For example, her childhood crush Cody Robbins fell into a decade-long coma after their first touch triggered her abilities. He never fully recovered and eventually passed away while on life support. However, Rogue has never directly killed anyone with her power. Even when influenced by Strain 88, her victims were left in a permanent vegetative state rather than killed outright. Because she absorbs the entirety of a person's psyche, there's always a danger of their personality overpowering her and taking control of her body. This has happened with figures like Spiral and Mr. Sinister, who both temporarily became the dominant personality. Even after Rogue's psyche separates from the one she absorbed, faint echoes of their personalities remain within her mind, leaving traces of their presence long after they've gone. Rogue has the ability to absorb the psyches and powers of multiple individuals at once, though this can be overwhelming and leave her feeling confused or disoriented. Robotic beings are generally immune to her abilities. However, she can usually affect cyborgs depending on how much of their body remains organic, and she appears to have some effect on techno-organic beings. Some exceptionally powerful beings can resist her touch, attempting to dominate her will or create a feedback loop that disrupts her absorption process. Over time, Rogue's powers have evolved. For example, she was initially unable to absorb the abilities of Wonder Man, whose body is made of living ionic energy, but she has since gained the ability to do so. While Colossus in his metal form could once touch her without consequence, Rogue has demonstrated at other times that she can absorb his powers even when he's in his armored state. Her abilities were significantly enhanced by Pandemic through Strain 88, making her touch permanently and entirely absorbing in an instant. Her powers returned to their normal state after being touched by the mutant baby in X-Men Messiah complex. This event not only reset her abilities, but also restored her mental stability by erasing all the lingering templates and impressions from her mind. Following the events in X-Men Legacy issue 224, Rogue appears to have gained full control over her abilities. She can touch Gambit, even kiss him without causing harm or absorbing his powers. This change seems to be tied to Professor Xavier's intervention, which helped her dismantle the mental barriers that had formed in her mind as a result of repeatedly using her powers. As a result, Rogue's powers were stunted in their development, leaving them stuck in an early stage and severely limiting her ability to control them. However, during a battle alongside Gambit and Danger against Ares on Utopia, she demonstrated that her power absorption was still potent, enough to weaken Ares for Gambit to deliver the final blow. This hinted that she might finally have the ability to use her touch lethally against enemies while sparing her allies. Later, during a fight against the Avengers to defend the Jean Grey School from their invasion, Rogue used a more intense version of her powers. She rendered both Falcon and She-Hulk instantly unconscious, absorbing their abilities and leaving them incapacitated for an extended period. Aside from temporarily gaining green skin from She-Hulk, Rogue suffered no negative effects herself. A recent development in Rogue's powers allows her to prompt her victims for consent during skin-to-skin contact. If the victim resists, the absorption process is painful and forceful, as it was originally. But if they willingly submit, the transfer becomes smooth and without harmful consequences. Rogue has utilized this ability extensively in the Legacy series. For example, she absorbed the abilities of rescuers to save victims during a subway collapse. She also used it to pacify a riot in a mutant prison, taking on the abilities of some mutant volunteers to bring order. Currently, Rogue retains the powers and essence of Wonder Man, which means she is once again unable to touch others freely without activating her abilities. Although she initially also retained Simon Williams' consciousness, it was later removed by the Master Scientist. Even now, Rogue seems to hold on to some of Wonder Man's powers and abilities, even though his consciousness has been released from her body, possibly as a permanent effect. When comparing their power levels one-on-one, Rogue may have the following abilities. Her entire body, including her tissues and bones, seems to have been enhanced in strength to some degree. She is now composed of organic material infused with a unique energy known as ionic energy. Rogue possesses incredible superhuman strength, the exact limits of which remain unknown. She is classified as Class 100, indicating immense physical power. She appears capable of running and moving at speeds far beyond the peak of human athletic ability, granting her superhuman speed. Her ionic energy-based physiology likely gives her limitless stamina, making her immune to fatigue and giving her superhuman endurance. Her bodily tissues seem to be significantly harder and more resistant to damage than those of an ordinary human, providing her with superhuman durability. As a result, Rogue can withstand injuries from even high-caliber machine gun rounds with minimal effect. She also seems capable of enduring immense impact forces, such as falls from great heights or blows from superhumanly strong opponents, without sustaining serious harm. Additionally, she appears to be resistant to extreme temperatures, though not entirely invulnerable. For example, a nuclear explosion could still pose a lethal threat to her. Her agility, balance, and coordination are likely enhanced to levels far beyond what even the most skilled human athletes can achieve, granting her superhuman agility. Rogue's reflexes are believed to be similarly enhanced, surpassing even the most skilled human athletes. She is capable of flying through the air at incredible speeds. While her exact limits are unknown, she can likely achieve velocities exceeding 700 miles per hour. Rogue is considered functionally immortal. Thanks to the ionic energy that powers her, she is believed to no longer age and is immune to illness and infection. This same energy appears to sustain her body far more efficiently than the biochemical processes that support normal human life. Consequently, she no longer needs food, water, or oxygen to survive. After her marriage to Remy, Rogue's powers were reactivated by Xandra, the daughter of Shi'ar Empress Lilandra and Professor X, through telepathic intervention. Rogue gained the ability to drain the life energy and abilities of others from a distance, eliminating the need for physical contact to absorb powers and memories as referenced in Captain Marvel, Volume 10, Issue 4. Like her original powers, these new abilities were initially uncontrollable. Unable to manage this new capability, Rogue would unintentionally draw raw energy from everyone nearby. At its most uncontrolled, her absorption would kill anyone who got too close, leaving them as shriveled husks, before reducing them to ashes carried off by the wind. Using Spiral's Mojo World device, Rogue ventured into her own subconscious, where she discovered that her inability to control her powers stemmed from a deep fear she had been suppressing. After confronting this fear, Rogue regained control, allowing her to activate or deactivate her energy-draining abilities, both tactile and remote, at will once more. I know that was a lot of Rogue information. I want to hear from you. Tell me what you think about Rogue and her powers. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below.